Welcome back to another FPL video, and in today's one I will show you my favorite draft so far, which will be a 5 at the back draft, which may be the new meta, who knows. I think this team looks so strong and you get so many key players in there and also a rock solid defense. I will show it in today's video, and also make sure to leave it in the comments. Do you think 5 at the back will make a comeback this season? And starting off with the goalkeeper position, we have Dean Henderson, which I think is probably one of the most underrated goalkeepers so far, especially because he's 4.5 million and also it's only 4.2% owned, which I think is really interesting because Crystal Palace, I think they will have an incredible season. We saw last season when Glasner joined, they were a completely different team, and I also think defensively they will be a lot better this season with Glasner. And now let's move on to the defense. We have started off with Madsen, which I think will be a gem for Aston Villa. I think he will unlock so much potential down that left hand side, and especially for next season I think he will just kick it off with incredible performances week in and week out, and we saw how good he were at Dortmund. So I think he will take that form into Aston Villa. And Aston Villa have actually some good features upcoming, and also I'm having him because I don't have another Aston Villa player that many people say is a must-have to have in your fantasy team. So therefore I will use that Aston Villa slot here in defense instead, and he could also be very offensive as we saw at Dortmund. And the next one will be Lisandro Martinez, and I've talked a lot about Lisandro Martinez, and that is because he's so good, and also in terms of his price, 4.5 million, he's a hidden gem for me. And I think next season he will do very well after a very good Copa America. I just hope that he can stay fit for the entirety of next season, because then Manchester United could look really dangerous. And the next one will be Munoz, the right back from Crystal Palace, which also had a really impressive season. He moved away from Genk to Crystal Palace, and no one expected him to implement that style of play he had at Genk so fast into Crystal Palace, and we saw how dangerous he was. And we also saw that he could move on to that right mid position that Glasner loves to play with, and he did very good with offensive numbers, and also was very solid defensively, and I think he will be a very good pick for next season. And the next one will be a little bit of a punt. He's a 5.5 million, and Munoz, by the way, is 4.5 million. I'm pretty sure of, let me double check, no, he's 5 million, I'm sorry, but I still think that is a pretty fair price for a very offensive back from Crystal Palace. And the next one is Timber, and he's actually coming in at 5.5 million, but keep in mind that the other Arsenal assets is 6 million and White 6.5 million. And if Timber can nail down that starter spot, I think he could be really good. We saw last season how good he were when he played in that back position, and this also depends if Calafiori joins the club. Let's say the Calafiori deal doesn't go through, I think that Timber move could be really good for FPL, because you of course save some money on not going for other Arsenal assets, and he is also a very offensive player and a very creative one in my opinion, so this one is definitely one to look out for. And the last one will be Aina, the 4.5 million defender from Nottingham Forest, and he's also very offensively, and the numbers from last season doesn't 100% reflect on how good he actually were, and many Nottingham Forest fans have said that he will be very nailed for next season, and that he will have more responsibility when it comes to the attacking numbers as well, so he will be allowed to get more forward, which we love to hear from an FPL point of view. And I also think Nottingham Forest will have a very good start to the season because of the fixtures, and also in terms of their last end of the season form and how they can implement that into the start of next season. And now let's move on to the midfield. The defense, in my opinion, looks rock solid, but we have also an insane midfield with 3 different bangers, starting off with Gordon at home against Southampton. Just an incredible fixture to kick it off with. And I also think Gordon is that type of player that you just want week in and week out, because when you watch Newcastle, he's just so fun to watch play. And you always know that a goal is right around the corner with him playing, or an assist, and I think he will smash it against Southampton. I think he's worth 7.5 million, which is a bargain. Although there will be many managers owning him, I think it's too risky to not own him, so therefore he will be one of the 3 midfielders we will have in this draft. And the next one will be Bukayo Saka, penalties, set pieces, and Wolves at home in the first fixture, and also Arsenal with some really interesting opening fixtures, which I really like, and also Brighton at home in game week 3. I think also that could be a really good one. And of course, you need some Arsenal players, and I've gone for Timber and Bukayo Saka. Of course, you could go for Martin Ødegaard and upgrade in other positions, but in this draft, that isn't necessary in my opinion. And the next one will be Mohamed Salah, 12.5 million, Ipswich away. He will be my captain, and of course, as I said, Saka will be my vice captain. Because I think Salah will just have an incredible start of the season. I don't know if he will be able to hold up that form throughout the entirety of the season. I have just a feeling that every Liverpool player wants to prove himself to Arne Slot, and I think Mohamed Salah will be one of them. Shaving his hair, he looks so fresh, and hopefully he can kick off the season with a bang against Ipswich away. He will be my captain for now. And let's move on to the forward positions. We have Isak and Haaland. Those two are the guys I've gone for the most consistently. We of course have to see the preseason. And 50 million for Haaland, yeah, it's expensive, but I feel like it's still a big risk to go without him. But he is actually only 30% owned so far on FPL, and when we compare it to the other seasons, he has been close to 90 and 100% owned in some of the occasions. And especially when I don't have any other Manchester City players, I think I need to have at least one, and Haaland is such a good option for me. And yeah, the next one will be Alexander Isak, Southampton at home. I think doubling up in attack with Newcastle could be a really interesting idea. And I'm not 100% sure of how good they will be defensively, but offensively I have a lot of hope, and Isak will be a big part in that. Also on penalties, which you love to see, and he's only coming in at 8.5 million, which I think actually is pretty fair, especially when you take into consideration the last season performance. And yeah, that will be my draft. What do you think about it? Bye bye and take care. Peace.